how do we define success? Perhaps a better question is, how do you define success? Maybe it's getting that promotion at work, or finally confessing to that person you have feelings for and beginning a relationship. What if it's simply getting a laugh from a quick-witted joke? Success is entirely subjective to the individual at hand. However, one might argue that an objective value falls in the definition itself. Success is built around achieving or reaching something. People typically set goals with the intention of accomplishing something specific, but perhaps they come out with something unexpected, yet valuable from their journey. A piece of knowledge, a new perspective, something material. Even in failure, one can still grow and be successful in some capacity. What's beautiful about success is that it's what the achiever makes of it. Success is an idea with an immensely positive connotation, but what if success brought more agony than satisfaction? 1967's The Graduate and 2003's Oldboy, two films that seemingly couldn't be further apart in their stories, characters, and premises, are actually linked together by this singular thematic thread. What if the thing you fought for, what you dedicated your life to, ultimately brought emptiness rather than fulfillment? These films dare to illustrate the price of success. Before beginning, a fair warning that this discussion will be covering both films in their entirety, and, in the case of Oldboy, some sensitive material or subjects. Directed by Mike Nichols, The Graduate tells the story of Benjamin Braddock, who is looking for some sense of purpose after recently graduating from college. He's awkward, he's naive, and he's a straight arrow. Despite his immense number of accolades, his success brings him no joy as he grapples with the lack of direction before him. Ultimately, in that search, he is seduced by his neighbor, Mrs. Robinson, and becomes entangled in a drawn-out affair. Something that Benjamin was adverse to evolved into something that gave him direction and acted as a form of rebellion from his proper, highbrow lifestyle. Benjamin became more confident and assertive too, something that would influence the direction of his character as well as those around him as the story continues. The audience is also educated on these characters, finding that there lies more depth to them below their base, primitive desires. Mrs. Robinson, like Benjamin, seeks direction. She felt pressured to marry her husband after she became pregnant with her daughter Elaine. Although she is protective of her daughter, prohibiting Benjamin from seeing her, she also harbors some deep-seated resentment for influencing the course of her life to one of dissatisfaction. Due to Benjamin's experiences with Mrs. Robinson and his newfound taste for defying the generally accepted, his thought process and decisions become more selfish. He goes against Mrs. Robinson's wishes and tries to date Elaine. He proceeds to then stalk Elaine, someone who clearly expressed wanting distance from him, and, in the film's finale, he crashes Elaine's wedding ceremony in his pursuit to be with her. As the movie progresses, each instance becomes increasingly extreme, affecting more and more people with each passing minute. Benjamin's experience with the taboo shifts his aim, his idea of success, to another taboo, dating Elaine in the face of opposition. And with that goal in mind, Benjamin walks ever closer to his own misfortune. As Benjamin disrupts the ceremony and shouts to Elaine, she struggles with her own desires and sentiments, her strained relationship with her mother, and the expectations for her to follow through with her engagement. In this moment, she spins to witness the barrage of angry faces and yelling around her. Yet she is deaf to their words, all aside from one voice that promises rebellion, the one she chooses. In a chaotic and joyful frenzy, Ben and Elaine blitz from the chapel with nothing but smiles and exasperated breaths. Nothing matters to them presently except the excitement of what they just did, rebelling against the expectations of those around them. It is a high for them, but it's a high that quickly wears off as the reality of their decision sinks in with the sound of silence. Bright eyes and wide grins slowly dissolve into lifeless gazes and empty expressions, echoing Benjamin's state from the film's opening and creating a perfect bookend to his summer. both thematically and audibly, with Simon and Garfunkel's iconic melody vocalizing the thoughts of these characters. Benjamin got what he wanted, the girl he pursued and stalked to no end, and Elaine, the girl described by her mother as naive and absurdly sincere, chooses in an act of defiance who she believes will be her forever love in that frantic instant at the ceremony. They succeeded in their goals, and yet, when the adrenaline subsides, what they are left with are the consequences of their decisions. The ending presented by the movie is quite different from that in the screenplay. The latter seems hopeful and happier, something much more in line with the film's comedic tone. Yet, Mike Nichols chose to let the moment linger to truly sell the idea that their success might not be the happy ending they wanted. It's a very real, powerful ending that is communicated with no dialogue and illustrates the dangers of rash decision-making and what one might be left with. Oldboy is a South Korean thriller film directed by Park Chan-wook, who is well known for the Vengeance trilogy, of which Oldboy is a part of. Oldboy began as a Japanese manga collaborated on by Geiran Tsuchiya and Nobuaki Minagishi. However, the film took on a new identity, borrowing some elements while standing mostly on its own. The story follows Dae-su, a drunk, childish individual who is arrested, causing him to miss his daughter's birthday. More pertinently, Dae-su is soon kidnapped by a mysterious party and imprisoned with no explanation offered. During this time, he succumbs to significant torment. His wife is killed, he attempts to take his own life, he falls to the lowest points imaginable before finding something to keep him alive. Revenge. Dae-su trains and works towards his freedom for 15 years before he is strangely released from his concrete cell. As he wanders and becomes accustomed to the world again, he holds close that desire for revenge and lets it grow. He encounters a woman named Mido, who he builds a strange relationship with, which advances from companionship to distrust to affection quickly. Along the way, Dae-su sinks deeper and deeper into this mystery, eventually unveiling the identity of his adversary as Woo-jin, a wealthy businessman and former classmate of Dae-su. Dae-su has the opportunity to strike him down, but he temporarily holds back, entranced too much by the idea of solving the mystery behind his capture. Dae-su uncovers that Woo-jin was engaged in an incestuous relationship with his sister, Suwa, something that Dae-su witnessed and told his friend about, inevitably leading to rumors and Suwa taking her own life. Woo-jin's belief that Dae-su was responsible for his sister's suicide is the source of his anger and, as depicted several times throughout the movie, is something that still haunts him decades later. It is the ember that guides and pushes him and crafts a story about how revenge is cyclical. It's an Ouroboros of hate. Dae-su's quest to find the identity of his captor, solve the mystery behind this cruelty, and put his life to an end serves as the foundation for a classic revenge story. Yet, one of Oldboy's many revelations is that both sides of this coin are fueled by the flames of retribution. Revenge, unlike success, is a concept with a fairly negative connotation. Yeah, it might feel great in the moment, but after finding it, what's left? Throughout history, the repercussions of revenge have populated each and every medium, from Shakespeare's Hamlet to Herman Melville's Moby Dick, to Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear Solid V. So, what happens when you take a concept like success with a positive connotation and combine that with the negatively charged revenge? The ending result is a corrupted concept that taints success. The satisfaction might remain, but its effects are temporary, something the finale to Oldboy masterfully presents. In their final confrontation, Dae-su tells Woo-jin that the game is over. He knows about the incestuous relationship with his own sister. He knows that his rumor led to her downfall, and he knows that this culminated in Woo-jin's hatred and torture of him. However, Woo-jin reveals that he still fails to grasp the full picture. Dae-su and Mito were both placed under hypnosis over the events of the film, which brought them together and to the state of intimacy that unfolds. Woo-jin tells him that the question he should have sought to answer is not why did he lock him up for 15 years, but why did he let him out after 15 years? Through recurring imagery, a series of photos depicting him in Mito's life, and elevating music, the truth behind Woo-jin's revenge plan is unveiled. Through his newfound relationship, Dae-su's life now parallels Woo-jin's more than ever. To stop Mito from learning the truth, Dae-su experiences each of the 5 stages of grief, eventually bringing about his own suffering by cutting out his tongue, the source of the rumor, as Woo-jin witnesses the exact satisfaction he had hoped for decades. Even with the final laugh and his target left a hollow husk, Woo-jin mirrors Dae-su. His smiles and laughs have warped into a pained expression and cries as the satisfaction of his revenge could not replace the pain of his sister's death. What the audience is presented is one of the most poignant, tragic scenes ever put to film, with a man reliving his trauma, literally and figuratively letting go of his past, and with no sense of direction left. Woo-jin dies not with the satisfaction of revenge, but the dissatisfaction of what it means. Then, the elevator shuts, closing the story of Woo-jin. Similarly to The Graduate, Oldboy depicts the success of 2 individuals that ultimately results in pain. Dae-su discovers the identity of his captor as well as the motive behind his persecution. However, what he did not anticipate is what horror would await him at the end of his journey. Woo-jin achieved perfect revenge, destroying Dae-su and having him emulate an experience that mimics his own past. A plan years in the making. Yet the satisfaction it brought was fleeting and couldn't remove the pain that had corrupted him since the death of his sister. Woo-jin was merely a phantom that lingered far beyond the day that Suwa died. Further echoing The Graduate is the parallel structure of the narratives. Just as Benjamin Braddock began and ended with no emotion or sense of direction, Dae-su is left a broken down beast of a man, just as the picture in his cell depicted. Benjamin Braddock and Dae-su, one driven by purpose and the thrills of life and the other by revenge, occupy different spaces, but are united in the lack of joy that awaited them at the end of their journeys. Although it is typically associated with the notion, success doesn't guarantee happiness. Just because you have reached the destination doesn't mean you will like what awaits you. With over 30 years between them and different focuses, whether that be the unpredictability of life or the pursuit of revenge, The Graduate and Oldboy depict the harsh reality that not every achievement brings sunshine and rainbows. Not every decision is a wise one, and success is not the end of the story. They go against the romanticization of life often depicted in media, serving as a subversion of audience expectations and thus leaving a tremendous impact. A drop of pessimism in a sea of optimism stands out, just as one negative comment in a sequence of positive ones can remain in one's mind longer. Their rarity and their development over the course of the narrative, from start to finish, imbues them with potency. Yet, make no mistake, these films aren't meant to convince the audience that life is bitter and cruel, but rather to serve as warnings as to what chasing success for the wrong reasons or with a lack of direction can bring. In the case of The Graduate and Oldboy, emptiness. Hello there everyone. Thank you for watching this video and I hope you enjoyed it. This is incredibly different from all of the other videos that I have ever done on this channel. I have never done a film analysis. I love movies. I'm not as into them as I am into video games, but there are a lot of movies that have had a very significant impact on me and I think about a lot. And recently I feel like I've just been less fixated on video games. I hope that this is temporary, but so I decided to shake it up a bit and do some film analysis. If this is something you enjoyed or you're new to the channel and would like to see more of this, feel free to go ahead and click the subscribe button or leave a comment about it down below. That helps actually a lot in terms of like notifying me, okay, do more stuff like this. Aside from that, it's a busy summer on my end, unfortunately, just with a lot of travel, but I will hopefully have some videos to go up while I am gone. Also, I have been streaming more frequently over on a second channel by the name of K Jewelers Chronicles. If you are interested in seeing streams on Pokemon, Mega Man, Zelda, or really just whatever, feel free to check out that channel, subscribe, and you'll get notified of whenever I'm going live. In the meantime, again, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel as always, and until next time.